Good afternoon. Welcome to Rebel News Live, and a good maskless morning to you, Sheila. We are here live from our studio in Toronto, taking your super chats, going over the news of the day in our latest videos. And why don't you explain to our viewers, Sheila, what a super chat actually is and everything else that we do here?
I definitely can do that. We don't have super producer Justin in today. We have super head of video Efron in today. And because of that, we might experience some technical confusion, which is fine. We're good. We're smart. We can think on our feet. Efron, I don't have the Skype feed or I don't have the YouTube feed in my Skype quite yet. And also I know. And unlike normal, normally I can hear Justin in my ear, but for some reason I can't hear Efron in my ear. So that's fine. We'll figure it out. Anyway, what are we doing here besides me apologizing in advance for whatever happens on the show today? This is our daily live stream. During the pandemic, when the mainstream media, especially the CBC, decided to roll back some of their news coverage, we decided to ramp it up. There's more people at home and there's more news than ever. And it seems to me that there's a lot of local news happening because a lot of the pandemic restrictions are, they're sort of local. It's this patchwork quilt of things. So there's a lot of things to talk about. And we used to just have a live stream on Friday. It was Ezra mostly. Sometimes it was me and David because it takes like me and David to fill in for one Ezra Levant. But since we're all kind of grounded from traveling internationally, we're all around and, we can take an hour to talk to our friends and supporters every day at noon Toronto time or 10 a.m. Alberta time. Gives you a chance to interact with each other, you at home, a chance to interact with each other in the live chat that's happening on the side of the screen, depending on how your YouTube screen is set up. And, there's a bunch of you that show up every single day to talk about the issues and interact with each other. And that's kind of fun. I do my best to go back and read everything that you say. But it also gives our supporters at home a chance to do something called a super chat. And I think it sort of democratizes the show a little bit. There's a $sign at the bottom of the live chat. If you just click on that, you can throw some money into something called a super chat. YouTube will take some of it. We take most of it. And it'll highlight your query, comment, concern, story idea, question. It'll highlight it. It'll pin it to the top of the screen so everybody will see it. But also, Andrew and me, we will also see it. Efron, the super head of video, will send it to me in a message, and we'll read it on air, and we'll do our best to address whatever you want to talk about it. But it's a way to support us completely willingly, as opposed to what the mainstream media has you do, and that's have Justin Trudeau take money out of your paycheck to give to them to do news that you are not even remotely interested in anyway.
Never forget that the CBC got $1 billion in 2020, Sheila. If we want to jump right into things, producer Efron, let's not forget co-producer Michael today.
Yes.
Crossing over with Mike Cross, if you remember that show. Crossing over with John Edwards, I believe it was, where he put microphones in the lobby so he could pretend he could hear people's thoughts.
Do you want to go, if you want to go down one heck of a YouTube rabbit hole, go to like John Edwards fails. You'll be there for hours.
Somebody named John in your family. Somebody around there. Right up there with Chris Angel in terms of video production, of just being completely fake.
Yeah. I'm sensing an older male. Is it my dad? Like everybody has a dad. So they're like, I'm sensing an older male around you.
It's like a fortune cookie. You
my grandpa?
Decisions.
Yeah, no kidding.
So we've just recently launched Fight the Fines UK, and we've got Benjamin Lockney is his name.
Yes.
Our UK reporter. He's much more British than us, so he's not yelling at anyone like I would, or he's not getting into dog fights like David Menzies, but he's doing a good job over there. And our most recent video was, what was it, Sheila? A card shop, like a Hallmark. Shop. I'm not, but like an independent one. And they had the bobbies come in and say, "You're not allowed to be selling these cards, mate. Where's your cards license?"
Yeah, I've listened to this video several times just because of the Britishness of it all. I find everybody's voice in this video really soothing, despite the agitating things that are happening and being talked about in the video.
So they came into a shop. The shopkeeper says that they even blocked the door because people were still trying to come in. Oh my God, they're not wearing masks, Sheila. They're killing people. They're killing themselves because they're old and they're not wearing masks. So those two police officers there came in. One ended up blocking the door because they didn't want more people coming in. And they told them that they're not allowed to have this card shop open, which of course is, I don't know, deemed non-essential by British law. You know, Sheila, I was talking to somebody yesterday about how disappointed I have become with the UK police in general. They've really taken to being the worst of all of, let's say, the Commonwealth in terms of how their police act. They're such pushovers. They participate in every social justice initiative. I've seen ones where they're taking pictures with people who have the fetish of dressing like dogs and being on chains. They'll do anything in the British police force, and I don't know, they just disappoint me so much, Sheila.
Do you expect anything less from a police force that's kind of scared of guns? You know, I think the most ridiculous thing I ever saw from the UK police was they were bragging about, they were posting pictures on Twitter, and I thought this has got to be a parody account, but it was actually the verified police force, whichever one it was. Someplace that ended in Shire or Sure, or however you say it, and they all do, right? It was things that they had confiscated, weapons that they had confiscated from people. And it was like some grandma's gardening trowel. They had taken off a grandma who was working in the front garden, and they had saved her from this gardening trowel. I mean, they take scissors, they take steak knives. It's just, I'm pretty sure there are actual crimes happening in the UK that don't involve a grandma weeding the dandelions out of the front flower bed, but that's where they focus, and that's what they brag about. It's very strange.
That's what they want you to think, those grandmas. And there was also pictures of when they banned knives in London, of people having just a recently purchased package of steak knives being confiscated from them, because that's what will stop the terrorist attacks in London. And there was also all the fiascos they had about their internet policing. All those posts that you would also think are memes or fake, but it comes from legitimate police agencies where it says, if you think you can get away with hate speech online, think again, bruv, or something to that effect.
Yeah. You know, when you see this stuff, you have to realize that it's beyond parody. Like, if I were making fun of them, I couldn't come up with something that effective of the things that they are really, truly doing. I couldn't think of confiscating somebody's like yarn scissors as a deadly weapon and then posting it on the internet and saying, see, we made your community more safe, or, you know, offering to police mean tweets while, you know, there are terror attacks happening on London Bridge, you know.
I'm really surprised that sort of online policing never came to Canada. It seemed like it would, considering we have hate speech laws. Now, producer Efron, can we cue up a clip from that Fight the Fines UK? As we mentioned, we've launched that. We, of course, have fightthefines.au with, that was too British to be Australian, but that's Australian with Avi. And, of course, fightthefines.ca or .com here, which we are taking 1,000 cases. 1,000, Sheila? I don't know how we're going to do it, but we have Aaron Rosenberg.
I've got 2 in the hopper already. So bring on the cases.
Let's throw to that clip now.
This is a substantial risk that you are facing by not adhering to the lockdown guidelines and based on what trading standards have advised you already.
We'll have to look into that.
If you want to look into that, I guess I can only go on what I've been told myself.
No, excuse me, you're not even giving us time to sort out what our rights are here. This is wait a minute, this is a business of 30 years here. And
I'm not disputing that.
We don't feel that that the law is right in this respect, that we are not doing anyone any harm by being open. We are doing no harm. What proof is there that we've harmed anyone?
I'm here in Droitwich, where I'm visiting a family who run a business who have been persecuted by the local police. They've received warnings, they've received orders to shut down, and they've received fines. And just around the corner there's a WH Smith doing the exact same services that they offer, but they're not being targeted. It's just the small local family businesses.
What I've been told, if you keep failing to abide by the trading standards saying that you need to be closed, there is a risk that you take on yourself.
I don't get
that
how...
if you continue to fail to obey by the regulations,
Well, we'll shut down completely.
that there is a risk that you can be given away, or you can have your licence taken away from you and you can be shut. This is a substantial risk that you are facing.
If you or someone you know has been unfairly fined, ticketed or even arrested, head over to fightthefines.co.uk and fill out a form with the details of your case. We will crowdfund a civil liberties lawyer to fight the fine in court, just like we will for this shop here in Droitwich.
On the first day of this second lockdown, we'd already decided before that that we would be opening. So we opened up on the first day, and within an hour and a half, the police came and physically shut the shop, actually closed the doors.
Well, they stood in the door and stopped people coming in, basically.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
they
you
were
were
quite-
still open?
We were open,
Yeah.
we had one
Yeah.
officer talking to us, the other one standing in the doorway.
This isn't for us to challenge. That would be for you to take up with them. As far as we're concerned, we've been told by the government that this does not meet the requirements for the shop to be open. So that is what we're here to advise you.
And did they have sort of a notice or...
Sheila, imagine going into that shop and being like, yo, we got to shut you guys down.
Yeah, those two nice, like, grandparently people, like, they're being treated like super spreaders when you can go to the big box store and just buy the same stuff they have. It's crazy.
I don't know what to tell you on that besides British police once again. Like, you come in here, they look so harmless. They look like they just want to sell cards, for God's sakes. Look at them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and yeah, British police. For a bunch of unarmed people, they sure are bullies, aren't they? You know, they come in and they want to threaten and sort of strong arm this super nice, soft-spoken, and maybe I think they're nice because of the British accent. Is that what I'm doing
I think
here?
so. It's
I
that,
always think
fallacy. It's that fallacy that
Yeah.
everyone with an accent is smarter than us.
Yeah, or at least with a British accent. I'm like, yeah, they're making a really good point, and it's a terrible point, but I just really like the accent. But yeah, they just seem so nice, and this unarmed police force, which I can't get over it, unarmed police force,
Bobby
but
swinging their clubs.
swinging their clubs and threatening this nice little shop owner. It's hard to watch, actually, because you see your own grandparents in those people, or your own mom and dad in those people who are like, we're just trying to make a living, and here come the cops because the Rona.
Shout out classy Benjamin Lockney there, who's kind of dressed similar to me, except I look like way more John Travolta here. Shout out to my dad, who texted me last night and told me to watch Saturday Night Fever. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, no, wait, don't. It's not as good as I remembered it being. So maybe that was in my subconscious today. Gotta try to hide my chest hair, Sheila.
I can't see you live, but I just can see the YouTube feed with the delay out of the corner of my eye. And yes, definitely, I'm feeling a
little. Is what you're trying to say. I'll finish that for you.
I'm feeling a little Italy here. Speaking of which, you know what? Let's talk about improving your outfit. Not that it needs a lot of work. It looks snappy, but I think it would be a lot better
with your Canadian tuxedo on.
I always do. It's bad. If you go down the the YouTube playlist of me on the Rebel channel, it's like just plaid, all different colors of plaid. I can't help it. It's who I am. But let's talk about everybody improving their outfits this Christmas season by getting their hands on some Rebel t-shirts and Rebel hoodies and other Rebel merch at our brand new, completely revamped, I'm very excited about it, Rebel News Store. Just go to rebelnewsstore.com. You'll see everything's been redone. All new designs, but some of your old familiar favorites too, like Sell the CBC. That's the t-shirt I wore on the live stream yesterday. If you head over there, you'll find something, I promise, for the happy warrior conservative in your life, the prickly conservative in your life. I'm both of those things on any given day.
Prickly conservative.
That's me sometimes. You will also find something that will annoy your liberal cousin at Christmas if you want. You'll find that all on rebelnewsstore.com. And I've got some great news because I'm a conservative, so I like to conserve money, and I think everybody at home does too. We've got free shipping all across North America on all of the merch in the store. Plus, you can save an extra 10% by using the coupon code Sheila10, that's SHEILA 10, on your purchase. So free shipping, extra 10%, and you get that special something for the conservative in your life. That's at rebelnewsstore.com.
I'm getting word here that the code Sheila10 actually adds $10 to your account. So
No, that's a lie.
so
That's a
you should
lie. We are
actually
having
use Andrew 10 as the. We've got a competition going, as you can tell, and it's rigged from the start. We all know this. Sheila's been here longer. She's got a bigger following on Twitter, the Twitterverse, for example, which you can follow me at Andrew Says TV, of course, on Twitter. But rigged from the start, Sheila's been using Dominion machines to boost her store numbers of somewhere around 3 in the morning last night. A bunch of purchases for gear using Sheila's code were magically dumped, and we don't know how it came. We don't know whereabout. I'm being told that it's come from Germany and also counted in the Toronto offices. So there's not really anything you can trust with Sheila Gunn Reid. Sheila 10 doesn't work, I'm told. These are just reports, Sheila. They're unverified. This claim is disputed, just to be sure. So to be safe, use Andrew 10, and I'll send you a picture, an 8x10 of me in this outfit, signed by John Travolta.
This internal competition is exposing the dark parts of my soul that I don't like my coworkers seeing about me. I try to be the happy, friendly sort of mom of the company.
Do you?
And sometimes. And I feel like I have a dark heart over this competition, but I want to win, and I think it's for the good of the company, plus for the good of the people, because they're going to be out there showing their rebel pride and showing the liberals of the world that they're unafraid to be proudly, boldly conservative by wearing our merch.
That sweater that we were showing. Yeah, that first one there. If store manager or Julian or Alex in the back, you could just ship me that one with Andrew 10 promo. It's pretty sweet. I like the blue. I would wear all of those. Of course, I probably shouldn't ask for all of them for free. But yeah, I think they're pretty sweet.
Yeah, I was going to. I have actually on the back of my chair here, the Wexit one. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's lime green, and it chroma keys my background onto it, so I couldn't wear it on camera. But I have it with me because it's near and dear to my heart. It's a cause I deeply care about. Should we get to some of these super chats? Again, everybody, that's Sheila 10.
And then
SHEILA 10.
Some crazy Los Angeles COVID restrictions.
Yes, please. That's crazy. Okay, Fraser McBurney gives us $10. I think. Oh, sorry. I have to go back a little. Georgie. Nope. Still going back a little.
Wow,
there's
Sheila.
So many super chats. They rolled right in on me and caught me off guard. Kane Enmark, you're the first one. You super chatted even before we started. Kane Enmark gives us $5. I was at Costco. The GM of the store said masks are for everyone. It's Costco law. Here in Canada, can a store make up laws? No, but they can make up their own rules. And so that's just how it is. If you want to shop there, then there are certain rules. However, their rules cannot violate your human rights.
Yeah,
so that's where things get
Are we
strange.
getting to this point now, Sheila, where a guy in a wheelchair shows up and we're going to say, I don't believe that you can't walk, so I'm not going to let you in my store. Oh, that support dog you've got, I don't think you need it. I should be able to pet your dog. So now we're getting people who are Costco workers do make above minimum wage, but people who make $15 an hour now get to make judgments on people's human rights. And I believe if you file a human rights violation, the person who is just following orders, they are implicated in it as well. So I don't know why these people who work at these stores are agreeing to do it. I don't know why these owners think that they can just, do whatever they want if it's against the law. Again, go in there with a wheelchair, and if they have one guy in a mask who says he needs an exemption and one guy in a wheelchair, you can't ask them, one, why they need it, and you can't ask them to prove that they need it. So it's pretty ridiculous. And I don't shop at Costco, and I'm glad I don't now. and I've heard that many other businesses are trying this, and it's just because nobody is putting their foot to the pedal in terms of any human rights, or like, just if you want to escalate to that level, you're going to have to get the police called and get them to admit that they can't force you to put on a mask. That's the end game, unfortunately.
Well, and it's time for conservatives maybe to start filing human rights complaints. I mean, we generally don't do that because I don't like this quasi-judicial adjudication body deciding if hurt feelings are human rights or if that's a real human right. But this is a real human right. Would you ask, like you say, a person in a wheelchair to show up and with a doctor's note saying, yeah, you know, here's my wheelchair. This is the piece of paper that says that I am paralyzed and so I need somebody to help me carry out my groceries. Would we ever expect anybody to do that? But, you know, when people have respiratory issues, apparently that's a whole different thing.
They just don't believe it. The people who are super pro-mask are just like, there's no reason why you can't do it. It's because they don't want to have to wear one. So guess what? If people didn't wear them, then nobody would have to wear them. So
yeah,
sorry,
it's time for
Costco.
civil disobedience, like a large-scale civil disobedience. Kane Enmark also gives us $5. I'm exempt from masks. I had a bad stroke. I have videos of the whole thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Respiratory issues are almost always not outwardly visible. Like, you don't always have an oxygen tank with the hose up your nose. Sometimes it's different. COPD doesn't always require that, but we're treating people as though they're liars when they say they are medically exempt. And I mean, it's good to be skeptical sometimes, but I think that's just a bridge too far.
Didn't they do that in that one McDonald's that Tamara Ugolini did a video about, where a woman had the oxygen tank with the tubes in her nose, and they're like, no, you can't come into McDonald's, sorry. But you can pick it up at the curb, don't worry, you can wait outside, you guys.
Yeah, that's Doug Ford's new plan. Support small businesses by waiting outside the small business on the curb
Or
instead of just going in. Yeah. Jorgie gives us $5. Should put on my glasses. I'm really squinting, and when I squint, it brings out my crow's feet. Okay, Jorgie gives us $5. Oh, good thing I put on my glasses. Sheila reminds me of Sarah Palin. Does Sheila hunt moose? By the way, I hunt moose. I rarely get moose because I prefer to bow hunt. And where I live, you need to qualify for the draw. Like, you need to get your tags drawn. And so it's sort of like a lottery to hunt moose with shotgun. And so it's just the bow draw is a little easier to get. So yeah, I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe, am I Palin-y? I don't think so. Maybe.
I mean,
is it because we're rural?
Maybe. She's from Alaska, which is my only experience with Alaska is that movie with Josh Hartnett where the vampires are there. Something about darkness, 30 Days of Night, I want to say. But no, Sarah Palin, whether it was the editing or not, she was unfairly treated. And if she's a terrible candidate, then so be it. If she's not smart, then so be it. But, like, would anyone get away with doing that to Michelle Obama or Kamala Harris? No, they'd be called sexist and probably racist depending on their race. And, you know, but it's okay. It's okay sometimes. So what my point here is, everybody be mean to Sheila.
Right. Yeah, I think there's exactly. I think there was some snobbery. Like, I think the treatment of Sarah Palin running for VP versus Kamala Harris running for VP, there's some definite classism and snobbery involved in all of that. And you can see it just plain as day from the CBC. They let, who's that awful Harridan harpy that works at the Star now? I can't remember her name. It escapes me right now. But when she worked at the CBC, she wrote this atrocious article about Sarah Palin, calling her a toned-down porn star. And then on the flip side, CBC just gives glowing coverage to Kamala Harris about how she's smashing glass ceilings. Well, it's pretty clear that, the glass ceilings.
To be clear,
anyway,
I'm not a supporter of John McCain and Sarah Palin's presidency. Just so we're clear.
Yeah. You know what, though? Sarah Palin was wisely brought in to sort of appease the Tea Party movement, who were not so convinced that John McCain was a conservative, and I remain unconvinced that he was a conservative. Let's keep going. That was a long answer for a very brief super chat. Jack Krauser, $6.99. If we make it out of this communist Great Reset nightmare, no one will ever trust governments ever again. Depends on how long this Great Reset nightmare goes on. The further you get away from that baseline of normal, the more reasonable how you're living seems. And that's what I'm worried about. The longer this goes on, the more it's going to seem, I hate to use the word new normal, but it is just going to seem normal. All these weird rules and stuff, because it's been almost a year.
I know.
Like, it's crazy. A year of, that's the part that really bothers me. Little kids, it's been a year of them living like this, and some of them have only been on the earth for 4 years. So a quarter of their life has been lived like this. I think that's awful. What an awful impact this will have on them.
It's starting to become apparent to me that it's some of the stuff, of course, you can try to say is conspiratorial, but the conspiracy to me is becoming clear is that it's just to make some certain businesses way more money. The Amazons, the Walmarts, the teachers' unions, they've been attempting the whole time to get the class sizes down. The nursing unions, they fired a bunch of nurses and then got money to rehire them. So to me, what it's becoming apparent is that certain people want to make certain groups or businesses a lot more money, obviously Amazon, and that's what the big conspiracy is here. Keep things shut down, keep businesses down as long as we can to make other people more money, and we need to keep the masks and everything in place and say how dangerous it is to justify all those other lockdowns, because we saw that came out the other day in Ontario, or yesterday we talked about it, how little deaths are actually from, or actually it was just cases, and it was in the low 100s from restaurants, and then a couple hundred from gyms. And Christine Elliott spits on that information and says, no, it's too bad, we have to keep it closed, you guys. Doug Ford, it's like, my friends, we have to keep it closed because you're too stupid to look at the statistics, and I think that you don't know what you're saying or what you're reading is true. And then he passes it off to Christine Elliott again. So that's my big conspiracy there, Sheila.
I think we might even have a clip of Doug Ford justifying why he's keeping the big box stores open versus how he's closed all the smaller stores. And I think he says something along the lines of, well, it's to keep you dummies out there in the real world from making 10 stops on your way home. So we're just, shoehorning you all into the same place. Maybe we can roll that if you've got it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you're actually, I have to wonder every time if it's going to be a Ben Bankus video now. If it's Theresa Tam or Doug Ford, now I have to judge in my mind beforehand if it's going to be Ben Bankus. I believe we have that, so let's go ahead and play
Perfect.
it.
What the health table's trying to do is limit the amount of visits that you're out there. So I'll give you an example. If you're going to one of the big box retailers, it's kind of the one-stop shop, and I know it's not fair, believe me. Not fair. But it really limits people from going out and making 4 or 5, 6 stops on the way home to pick stuff up. And I've always said, for everyone out there that is out there, maybe really, I've had some protesters out there. Go online, shop online, order meals online, do everything online, and not with the big online retailers as well. Call the store up if they don't have a website. Call them up and order something online and get it delivered or do curbside pickup. And as for, I'm not going to get deep into the supply chain and everything, but it just doesn't work that easily with these big box stores on supply chains and leaving cargo sitting on the docks, the ports, and it just is not realistic. So I'll pass it over to the Minister of Health.
Well, yes, the reason for some of the small businesses closing in some of the lockdown areas is because it's really important not to have numerous contacts if people are going from shop to shop and so on. It's just more opportunities for the virus to be transmitted. And you're right, with respect to the big box stores, we're hopeful that people will go in there for essential goods. That's the reason why they're open, for the pharmacies and some of the grocery sections that many of the big box stores have. And we're really asking people to please support your small order everything from some of the Amazon and some of the other big organizations, please continue. Order from small businesses, order from your local businesses in your communities if you're in lockdown. And that will help them get through this as well, because you can still order and go and pick up your orders. That's what's happening in many malls. It's happening in other businesses. But please support your small businesses, and please support your local restaurants as well with takeout orders.
To quote former Leafs player Phil Kessel, I've had it, Sheila. I've had it with Doug Ford and Christine Elliott and their constant excuses about, oh, you can just call, but also purchase online somehow. So if the place doesn't have, one of the places coming up is a board game store and a toy store. A board game store probably doesn't do online purchases. So you're going to call them up and what? Have one of those machines they come out to the store?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And small businesses can't survive on just takeout. That's why they have indoor dining. Don't you think if they could, they would? They wouldn't have to hire bussers. They wouldn't have to hire servers. They wouldn't have to hire hostess. They wouldn't have to hire bartenders. If they could survive on just takeout orders, they would. So on one hand, shop small businesses. On the other hand, we're going to make it so they can't really survive. Oh, and if you can't survive, take a government loan. Oh, if you can't pay the loan, then the government gets part of your business, which is the most communist thing out of all of this, is the government equity loans. It's insane, Sheila. And like I said, I've had it. I gave Doug Ford a lot of leeway, but to this point, he's either stupid or he doesn't care, because he talks about these phone calls he gets from small businesses. And you must not care, Doug Ford, because you look at the statistics, we have them. There's nothing coming from restaurants or gyms and grocery stores or retailers, even the people working there who are around it every single day. There's nothing coming from that, but we still have to keep it closed because you guys can't be adults and you guys can't watch yourselves. And the more we're like East Asia and just wear masks all the time, that's the only way we're going to get through this, people. And it's going to take 2 weeks to flatten the curve, Sheila. Remember that.
Right. We're in month 10 of 2 weeks to flatten the curve. The babies that were conceived at the beginning of this curve flattening are coming up to baptism. It's fascinating to listen to Doug Ford, I guess, sort of gaslight businesses. What is he doing there? For example, you're talking about this toy store that David Menzies is out on the case with today. When you go into a toy store, you want to be able to look and see everything. And if these guys didn't have a website, and if they're a small toy store, they probably didn't, because again, the relationship is like face to face and they're getting new and quirky things in all the time. And so if you want to go in there and see like a specialty board game, a specialty version of Risk or Monopoly or whatever, you want to go in there and see it with your eyes. You want to pick it up. You want to, you want to look at it. You want to shop it. And you can't do that if the store is closed. Like, what are you supposed to do? Call the guy who owns the store on his FaceTime, have him run down there and open up the store for your one purchase and like have him show you everything and like pick it up, open it, like show you the little figurines that are inside. What does Doug Ford think that these businesses that he has already closed are supposed to do? Half of them aren't open for curbside pickup, because why even bother? Because he keeps telling people to stay home. So if you tell them to stay home, they're not going to go do curbside pickup. I was actually talking to a restaurant owner friend of mine, and he said every time Justin Trudeau opens his mouth about something, his business tanks, because Justin Trudeau says something and it scares people and says stay home. Like when he says Christmas is going to look different, don't have any Christmas parties, he sees an absolute spate of cancellations of families of 6 that are trying to get together and have a meal out. He sees cancellations every time these politicians put the fear of God and Corona in the customer. And nobody even thinks about that aspect, about how it's causing uncertainty every time people like Doug Ford scare people.
What did these conservative premiers run on? Non-deficits, not shelling out money to people that were always asking for it, unions, and having better business. Doug Ford has gone back on all of those. He's kowtowed to teachers. At least the students are there. At least the classroom sizes haven't been reduced, which was probably only happening because of a personal beef that they have with the teachers unions, which I'm happy about. But he still gave them more money. He still gave the nurses union way more money, even though they didn't need it, because they fired people and then wanted to bring them back. And then he said, we're not going to have hallway hospitals. And then on the first chance he gets, he says the hospitals are too full, so we got to give them more money. So you've had months and months to prepare for this thing that just for in coronavirus, you've had a couple of years now to prepare for it in general. But now a few hundred people are in hospital for coronavirus, and the hospitals are overflowing. Because why? Because you didn't do another thing that you said you were going to do. And then the money he shells out for an electric car plant, and then he gets in terrible backlash for that because of GM. So they have to reopen GM in Oshawa. And then on top of that, like I mentioned yesterday, the federal government gives him money for this electric car plant, and then he shits on them by mocking Trudeau. It doesn't make any sense. You're playing right into Trudeau's hand, and then, like you said, from this restaurateur, they can, with the drop of a hat, come out there and change the market just by instilling fear in people. And, you know, while that person probably sees a dip in their business, online big box chains, Amazon, Walmart, or McDonald's delivery or Tim Hortons delivery probably sees an uptick.
Well, and there's a flip side to this, and I'm not cutting Doug Ford any slack here, but the media also, I mean, why is Doug Ford trying to please the media? The media are going to eat him alive no matter what he does. And a good example of this is Jason Kenney. Yesterday, he announced a couple of things. First of all, we announced a deputy minister of vaccine deployment and procurement. I'm not quite sure the exact name, but he's a retired general. And so he's going to deal with that because we certainly can't trust the Liberals to do it. They don't even know when we're going to get a vaccine. 1/3 of the world is going to get it before us. And God only knows if we're getting the Chinese military one or the Pfizer one or the Moderna one. The Russian one. Who even knows? I think Justin Trudeau had 6 different procurements out at one point. So who even knows what we're going to get? And some of these, I think the Pfizer one has to be stored at like absolute zero, like minus 80 degrees Celsius or something. Like it's very cold. So you need the right freezers in place. Otherwise, these things are going to spoil. And I guess our provincial government hasn't heard anything from the federal government, and the vaccines are coming eventually. So we have to get someone in place to do that. And then Jason Kenney said, we also probably should get some temporary medical facilities, like temporary hospitals in place, just in case we're going into the worst of the flu season. Let's get a couple of those in place so we're not caught flat-footed. Okay, great. You know what? I'd rather you be over-prepared than under-prepared when it comes to that sort of stuff. The media runs the narrative, Jason Kenney, by, hiring this new deputy minister of vaccine deployment and getting these temporary hospitals in place, shows how he's mishandling the pandemic, because obviously he's expecting an explosion of cases. And instead, it's just him being prepared, unlike the federal government, who the media says is handling it very well. I don't understand any of it.
Well, Doug Ford likes the attention from the media because he thinks, and this is a trap so many politicians in the U.S. fall for, they think that they get a little positive attention for a few decisions, that Liberal or Democratic voters are going to come out and vote for them. And it never, ever happens. It only happens the opposite way. You look at the people in the States who were for impeachment of Trump, they get destroyed in the House. And the same thing will happen here. Doug Ford will think that, I must have gotten, my friends, I was there for you during the summer. Now please come out and vote for me. And then Jagmeet and his brother will maintain their seat. Well, Jagmeet's not in Ontario, but Jagmeet's brother will get his seat, and then Liberal seats will come back. And my prediction remains that the PC will maintain their victory. Well, they'll maintain their office, but in a smaller margin, because they're not going to support them come election time, Sheila. I don't know about you, but if Justin Trudeau says like 3 good things, or does something you like, I want to be able to say something I like that he did off the top of my head, but I don't know right now.
I don't know.
But that's still not going to make you vote for him. Like, your ideology doesn't change. You can support who's ever in power. You can say when they're doing good things, but that doesn't mean you vote for Joe Biden when Joe Biden does one thing good, even though you love Trump. It just doesn't happen that way. We should probably get to more super chats before we implode.
We should. Just one more point on Doug Ford, though. something about this all leaves a very bad taste in my mouth. And I don't know the internal workings of someone else's family. So I'm trying my best not to be too judgy about it, but that's just my nature also. I got a real tough time watching Doug Ford suck up to the same media that terrorized his brother until the day he died. It just doesn't make me feel good about any of it.
And remember that his own daughters disagree with him too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know what, though? There's no accounting for kids. I mean, look at Kellyanne Conway's kids. So, you know, I try not to judge people by their children. Jack Krauser gives us $6.99. Oh, so we already did that one. Richard Hunt, $20. Thank you very much. Love all the folks at Rebel, and very much appreciate you all for showing us the truth and the concerns everyone has for what is going down right now. Would like some ideas as to how we combat this new world order. I think some very brave people are out there already doing the work of civil disobedience. And frankly, it's coming from our churches all across the spectrum, from Mennonite to evangelical churches to street preachers. I mean, they're all taking a stand in defense of religious freedom and liberty and choice. And they are ready to pay a high price for that. And we are here to help them, especially with our work at fightthefines.com. And I'll get through these super chats, but I know we want to talk about some of that stuff.
You saw it on my face.
I did. Fraser McBurney gives us $10 and says, Rebels, do you have any news about Michael Arana of the Arana report? He was the gentleman who was arrested at Adamson's and manhandled by the cops. The British police have declared war on Britons. I think he was arrested for a couple of different counts, one of them being spitting on an officer, which I think is akin to assault. Yeah, foolish. Yeah, so don't resist arrest. Just deal with everything after the
guy
fact.
Who tried to hug him when he got arrested?
Yeah.
That guy
that's
was doing
the guy.
his own stunts. Sorry, but you got your
Yeah.
publicity.
Yeah. Solid as a B-ball gives us $2. Does Rebel call into provincial and city pressers? Yes, we do. Kian is a regular caller into the Alberta government pressers. He's also down there at the legislature. I've been down there a couple times this winter also. We try to make it a regular thing. We don't always get a question, but when we do, we try to ask questions that are of interest to the people, as opposed to the media party asking questions that are of interest to the rest of the media party that nobody actually cares about. What a waste of a question.
And on some occasions in Ontario, I've tried, and then you're supposed to email them to ask for the phone number. They just don't reply. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, it's very convenient. Viking Insane. Oh, by the way, Kian's got a real doozy of a story coming out of his trip.
Bud.
Oh, yeah. To the legislature yesterday. It is something else, but absolutely predictable given the cast of characters involved. So please stay tuned. Make sure you ring the little bell and like our channel so that you never miss a story like the one that Kian's coming out, because you know what? Some things never change down at the legislature, no matter who's in power.
War never changes, Sheila.
That's right. Viking Insane gives us $2. Those police are the brown shirts of the globalists. You know, I have a hard time lumping all the cops into the same dirty basket. There are some good cops there that are just can't even believe what they're being asked to do, and some authoritarian, power-hungry madmen. And I don't like those people tainting the good work of cops that are in our communities, playing on our hockey teams, going to our gun range, who just want to keep our communities safe. Peter Van Noort gives us £5, supporting you from the Netherlands. Thank you very much. That's a very Dutch last name. Margot Hadath gives us $6.99. Build back better. Latest elite mantra: do away with all existing non-agreeable persons and build back better with all the brainwash. Muzzle Flash gives us $5 Australian, which I think is akin to a Canadian peso. World Economic Forum just posted that we should be conditioned to eat weeds, bugs, and drink sewage water to reduce CO2 emissions.
They try the bug eating thing every 6 months, Sheila. I don't get it. Like, they really want to make it so that only super rich people can eat steak. But the bug eat, it's not happening. I won't even eat rice, Sheila, unless it's been fried. I'm not going for the bug. Oh, you can get all this protein from bugs. I don't care. Yeah. Eat your bugs if you want. This is not going to be this cool bug meat patty thing that you've been trying for the last 10 years.
all the time they talk about, the high quality protein of a cricket or whatever stupid thing that they're trying to get you to eat. And it's like the people who are starving and who are forced to eat crickets to stay alive would love to eat one of the critters I have prancing around in my backyard that I'm going to eat. So, I mean...
It's because that it will cost them exactly 0.01 cents to mulch up 10 trillion crickets and sell them in a nice cricket pate for $5.
I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like some days there's just a bunch of lizard people rubbing their hands together saying, let's see if we can get them to eat bugs.
The lizard people want us to eat bugs. They've been trying it for centuries. It goes back to the Sumerians and the ancient Mayans.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from.
You know what? I'm listening, though. Fubar Snafu gives us $10. Got my useless mask from Rebel just in time for my hospital appointment, but they said it was useless and made me wear one of theirs.
What?
You know, it's true. You know what, though? At least it's not false advertising.
Sorry, go ahead.
I went to visit one of my friends at the hospital, and the second you say visit, they're like, nope, you can't come. We don't do visits. But I had, my own, my daughter's rugby team sold masks, so I bought some to support her. And I knew that I would have to wear a mask going to the hospital, so I'm like, I'll just wear the one that I bought because of the kids. And I get there, and they're like, no, take that off. Put this piece of paper one over your face because this is way better. It's way better. I'm like,
Shout out Sheila's daughter for playing rugby. I played rugby in high school. Got me a double root canal from an elbow.
Oh, my little girl is quite the rugby player. She's played for 10 years. She goes on, international tournaments. She's
nice.
Quite a kid.
The old student exchange. We did that with Wales in my high school.
Oh,
dirty
yeah.
Welsh.
And again, she's like, I'm losing all of my cardio, my muscle for the ruck. She's losing it all because they can't play team sports right now.
Time to get her on
Sad.
steroids, Sheila. It's time. Human growth
She runs
hormones.
She runs on the treadmill with stuff in her backpack.
She might as well be in the military if she does that.
Mike Mayer. Hi, Mike. That's Mike from People vs. Predators. They are still using the pandemic to empty the prisons. Keep fighting the good fight, rebels. Yeah. Isn't that gross? The civil libertarians who are not around when churches are being closed and people engaging in political protest are being fined and stuffed into cop cars. You can't find a civil libertarian. You look for a civil libertarian, there's a tumbleweed rolling by. But when they're like, we got to get these people out of the prisons, these rapists, sex offenders, child abusers, we got to get them out of the prisons before they get the corona because we got to keep them safe. I don't know. Aren't they technically quarantined? Lock up everybody who may have been exposed to the virus in a quarantine facility, and then the quarantine facility for criminals, we're just emptying that out. Very strange.
Are we caught up yet? No?
Nope. Dr. Phi gives us $20, or Durfi. I don't know. I say it different every day. In the U.S., if I'm not mistaken, Teddy Roosevelt drafted legislation so that a portion of the sales of hunting permits and ammunition goes to the maintenance and conservation of national parks. So we have similar legislation. I don't know about the rest of the country, but in Alberta, our hunting license, fishing license, they all go to, and our wind cards, so our wildlife cards, it all goes to conservation. Us hunters and outdoors people, we pay to protect the environment for future generations. Greenpeace does not.
And they say that the Trump Jr. is an evil man for that. Little do they know that he does conservation hunting. The one he did in Africa, that they were all up in arms about, was a place where they needed to control that population, which is what happens in the Northwest with wolves too. And there was a big thing crying about that, where the wolves are killing all the deer, so they need to kill some of them. And oh no, gotta protect those wolves.
These people don't understand. They see the stuffed animal of an apex predator and they think that's what they're like out in the wild. But if you continue to protect them, you end up with a glut of apex predators at the top, and then they die a miserable death of starvation because they've eaten all the lower animals. And then those lower animals are, it causes a catastrophe in the food chain when we don't allow a cull of apex predators.
It's a metaphor for communism, really.
Definitely. Very thoughtful. Libby T gives us $5. Canadians are so complicit, have to stop global reset, stand up for our rights. Julia P gives us $5. C182OPR gives us $10 and says, go to the mega store and have contract contact with 100 people, that's better than going to 10 mom and pops and contacting 20 people. Does Dougie take stupid pills every morning? You just can't be that naturally dumb. Yeah, when you're herding people into everybody into one place, it maximizes contact as opposed to dispersing everybody and spreading them out. I don't get it. Julia P. gives us $5. Most small businesses do not have online platforms. How are we to support them? What a bunch of morons. Jaden Haight gives us $5. Alex Jones reports Swiss firm linked to China gave $400 million to parent company of Dominion Voting a month or two before the election. Thoughts? I don't have any. I haven't seen that yet, and I'm disappointed because I pay an unreasonably close amount of attention to Alex Jones just for fun.
I heard that. I didn't read it, though.
Yeah, I'd have to drill down on that, make sure all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted.
Sheila. We'll get you hooked on phonics soon.
Fubar Snafu gives us $10. Smug Thug Doug should plug his mug and go tug his lug before he gets the bug in his rug or a slug in the jug. Look, I just read the super chats. I don't endorse all the super chats or anything like that, but I appreciate the effort you put into rhyming that. Timothy Powell gives us £5. Small stores and shops are far better. Less people in one. Go numbers are evened out among them and so much better to clean at set times. Yeah. John Day gives us $5. How long will it take to find the virus has mutated and we'll be on another lockdown until another vaccine is available? Every single year, I'm sure, just like the flu. Mark, $2. Are protests greater than 10 people banned in Alberta? Calgary, 3 are fine. Yes, we are looking into
protests based on size. What's going on in this country, Sheila? Can't just be like, oh, your human rights are half qualified now. You may have one crutch, no wheelchairs.
Well, they say outdoor gatherings of greater than 10 people are banned. But also our justice minister and the UCP have said, yeah, but we're not banning political protest. We don't do that in Alberta. And those 3 people that were fined in Calgary, or 3 fines issued, I think it's 3 fines issued to 1 person or 2 people, which we're already working on. I think that came from the city of Calgary that did that. And so the city of Calgary is pretty close to being Toronto West. However, I think Edmonton holds that title. But they do have a very bad mayor who wanted to defund the police. Then he refunded them, I guess, to ticket political protesters. So we're looking into that to see how we can help there. Julia P. gives us $5. My husband is a laser tech in the entertainment industry. Ooh, cool. Complete shutdown since March lockdown. 30-year career ended by the government. Yeah, people forget that, okay, so the rich musicians are not performing. Big whoop, they're going to be fine. What are they going to do? Cry themselves to sleep in their mansions? But it's everybody else that works in the industry who's, making a halfway decent wage. They've been out of work, they can't work at a concert. The pyrotechnic guys, even the people who work at the hockey rinks, like the major large hockey rinks, they're out of work. There's nothing there for them. Dave Warren gives us $5. When are we going to see Drea and Tamara on the live chat?
Ask. As part of our competition here with our Andrew 10 promo code, I believe we are going to be bringing on such talents such as the Hunger for Truth. Is that what her channel is called? Hungry for Truth. With Drea Humphrey and Tammy Lynn, Tammy from the block, Tamara Ugolini. So I'll be making appearances next week, and if I am mistaken, I will be reprimanded for that, but I believe I am not, and I believe next week is the week where we will see both of those, along with probably Kean Bexty, young Kean Bexty. I believe today's his 18th birthday. And probably somebody else, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe David Menzies will come back.
Maybe David Menzies will come back. I think people are missing him in the live chat. But yeah, Tamara and Drea, we were talking about it in the morning meeting today, that it's not fair. I mean, it's already not fair. I have an advantage because people like me better than Andrew. and I wear a lot of T-shirts. I've been around T-shirts. I'm a T-shirt person. So if people want to buy anything off the Rebel News store, rebelnewsstore.com, use the coupon code Sheila10 and you'll get 10% off plus free shipping. But yeah, we'll have Drea and Tamara on so that people can show their love for those two girls. I mean, they're quickly becoming fan favorites in their own right, just because of the good work that they're doing. Hazel Levonen. I'm sorry, Hazel, I butchered that. $6.99. No more tests, no more lockdowns, no vaccines, no more masks, no imposed distancing, no more plexiglass, accountability for harms done by government. I wish.
Plexiglass
Breathing.
is here to stay.
Oh, I hate that plexiglass. And it's
It
like,
protects you, Sheila. Come on.
they're wearing a mask and yelling into plexiglass. I'm like, I can't hear anything that's going on.
The
I
virus
can't
can't
hear
go
anything.
around corners. It's like the JFK bullet. It's magic.
Yeah. Yeah, back into the left or whatever it is. Breathing
The
sunshine.
Seinfeld, the spit. Oh,
Yeah.
he spit
Breathing.
at us.
Breathing Sunshine gives us $2. Sheila Provincial Administrative Penalties Act. Yes, I'm looking into that. Yuta Bursi, $6.99. Dr. Phi gives us $20. Just when we think we had gotten away from Kathleen Wynne and Dalton McGuinty with their gas plant scandals, deficits, and high electricity prices, we now get Ford enacting laws abdicating responsibility for actions during COVID. Yes, that is very true. Canadian Horse, $20. Anti-oil and gas, eating bugs, total government control, regressing back to the dark ages, king and peasant. Yeah, they only want one of us to regress back to the dark ages, and it's not them. It's us.
I'm not sure
they're going to be
though.
fine. They won't eat bugs. We'll eat the bugs. They're going to eat all this.
No, I'm saying in
They'll
the
probably
dark
eat
ages. I'm
people.
not sure there was a lot of bug eating. Did we lose her? No, she's there.
Oh.
Okay.
Nope, I'm here. Sorry, Skype froze up. Probably one of my kids on a Zoom call. Fubar Snafu. My teenager is out of school because apparently the teenagers are like getting the COVID. So they let them out for Christmas break early and they'll take them back from Christmas break.
You know who else got out early? The teachers. That's why they're out early. We're gonna. Oh, I won't even say. But that's basically what it is in a nutshell. Teachers unions.
Oh, I know. But they kept the younger kids in, which caused a big fight in my house between the little one and the big one. She's got to go to school every day.
Make
But they
them
kept the little
joust.
ones in naturally because parents would have to find childcare if they're working or whatever for the little ones. But the teachers were up in arms because they kept the little ones in school. Anyway, needless to say, the internet connection around my house is strained every day, to say the least. Fubar Snafu gives us $5. Sorry, Sheila, Doug triggered me. John Day gives us $5. Andrew, tomorrow wear a white hat and a big mask and pretend you are David tomorrow.
A white hat and a big mask? That doesn't sound like David. That sounds like a clan member, actually. I will not be doing that.
Andrew, it's 1 minute till the end of the show.
Are we done Super Chats, Sheila?
We're finally caught up on the Super Chats, and we talked about absolutely nothing on the list except the greeting cards.
Well, I'll say a bunch of things now then. I'll post on my Instagram the bunch of the crazy LA stuff, which includes if you're not exempt, you can't go outside at all, you can't go walking, you can't go driving, you can't go living at all. Don't forget to follow Sheila on Twitter, myself on Twitter. Don't forget about the Rebel News Store discounts that are going on. Sheila 10, Andrew 10. We won't tell you anybody else's codes besides ours. Free shipping right now. Efron, can you pull up my promo picture for my show that's coming this Saturday? I'm very excited about it. My first guest is Dave Rubin. That's going to be airing Saturday at 2. Efron, I sent it to you. I'm waiting for it. Can you put it up, please? Thank you.
Be nice to Efron, please.
You know what, Sheila? Sitting in this David Menzies seat has filled me with all sorts of rage, okay? This is this Saturday at 2, myself and Dave Rubin. It's a great chat. We're going to have more episodes coming. I've got more secret guests. We're filming another one today. So follow me on Twitter if you'd like. Go to my YouTube, Andrew Says, if you'd like, if you're not familiar with that. And go follow Sheila, because she's very witty on Twitter as well. Thank you for all your super chats. Final thoughts?
I've got none, except telling people, again, about rebelnewsstore.com, coupon code Sheila10, SHEILA 10, free shipping, 10% off, and if you'd like to throw Andrew a bone, you can use his coupon code too. Buy two shirts, one from me. One from me, one from Andrew. Andrew 10 is his. And
I'll just read the super chat right off here,
please.
Efron. Sheila, it's from Little Cindy Loves Jesus. That's pretty funny. $5. Sheila, I need to try to find your CBC shirt. I could not find it. I spent $273 yesterday on the Rebel store. That's insane. I hope you used a discount code. Her CBC shirt, I think we can... Sheila, can you post the link on your Twitter or something?
Yes, I will post the link on my Twitter. It might have gotten lost in the shuffle as we revamped the store. So I'll make sure it's there, and I will post it, and I'll pin it as my top tweet. So if you want to go over there later on, and I'll try to have it up there so that you can find it.
And apparently we have another one from Mark, $2. Reflections of the plexiglass caused me seizures. I hope that's not true, but I think that they're just going to leave them up as a precaution until they break or something, even after all this is done. Thank you for watching, Sheila, unless you have something else to say. That's it for us. Thanks to Efron, Mike in the back, Sheila, Alex Graphics, Nicole, Margaret, Dave, even young Sydney. How about that? Have a good day, everybody.